Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. By the way, this title is an absolute f***ing lie. Unless you're a reincarnated feudal Japan warrior, you're gonna be dying more than 2 times. After recently finishing the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC for Elden Ring and snatching up the game's Platinum Trophy, I was left craving more From Software goodness. And by From Software goodness, I'm referring to a video game bullying me so much to the point I become numb. I played Sekiro back in 2019 when it released, and yep, the game slapped me around like the wind slaps around those inflatable figures. Back then, I got up to Guardian Ape, it threw feces at me, and I ceased to continue. Is that poo? Since playing Elden Ring back in 2022, I've had this urge to go back to Sekiro to retake on the challenge. Sekiro is commonly positioned at From Software's hardest game that they've made throughout their Soulsborne series. Now, while I haven't finished up Demon Souls or have taken on the Dark Souls trilogy, I thought to myself that now that I've got the experience of platinuming both Bloodborne and Elden Ring, is it possible that I could perhaps become the bully this time around for the Sekiro challenge? And at the same time, grab the game's Platinum Trophy, the ultimate bragging rights to say that yes, I have overcome From Software's greatest challenge. Are you proud of me, mother?
Good day.
Hello. Hey, I just wanted to tell you something.
Yes.
I platinumed Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice.
What?
I've platinumed Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice.
What does that mean?
Well, I went through the entire game 3 times. I defeated all of the bosses multiple times. The optional bosses that I didn't actually have to defeat, but I defeated them anyway. I've done it. I've done From Software's hardest challenge.
Oh, wow.
Thanks. Yeah, I just thought you'd be happy to know that.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic.
Thanks, Mum. To answer the question of if I became the bully throughout this experience, well, that's just simply not true. That's a straight up f***ing lie. For this challenge, I had to embrace the power of popular family-friendly Fortnite YouTuber and streamer Nick30 and never back down, never give up. While I'm a firm believer in that Kingdom Hearts 3's Yozora secret boss fight on critical difficulty is the single most hardest video game challenge I have ever encountered the first time around, Sekiro is without a doubt the hardest overall video game experience that I've gone through so far, and it goes without saying, this is the hardest Platinum Trophy I've achieved thus far. Now, each of the From Software Soulsborne games are like ice cream flavors. They are essentially the same thing, just frozen milk with sugar, but the flavor is what truly defines the experience. Sekiro, though, is like a sorbet, right? It's still a frozen dessert, it's still a treat, but it's very different compared to the ice cream counterpart. This game is like the odd child of the From Software Soulsborne games. Incredibly different, though still very much the same as previous entries. This is the first Soulsborne game that ever included proper jumping, a dedicated jump button. Truly revolutionary. This meant that FromSoft focused a lot more on verticality within level design than in previous Soulsborne entries. There's also no leveling up, or at least by traditional means. Yeah, enemies still provide XP when they're defeated, or they will respawn when you rest at rest spots. However, the XP is used for passive and active skills. Gone are the days where you've been stuck on a boss fight, so you decide to go off for 4 hours and grind the same XP circuit to then get enough XP to put 4 additional points into either strength or vitality, in the hope that that'll be just enough to push you over the threshold to finally defeat the boss. Oh, it definitely won't. Nah, you're out of luck. It won't. Now you gotta rely on charm bracelets, which require 4 beads in order to be created. These beads are either dropped from mini-bosses or can be found throughout the world. Crafting a friendship bracelet will mean that your health will increase along with your posture. We can also enhance our attack power by defeating major bosses. Yeah, you don't actually get any damage increase until you overcome the challenge at hand. There's no armor in this game or different weapons that you can equip, and with the lack of increasable stats, there's no such thing as build. shields. The only thing that you have at your disposal is the tools that the game wants you to use. There's a wide range of shinobi prosthetics, which are essentially a secondary weapon that costs spirit emblems to use. These are really more so support tools though, than rather being a secondary weapon. Perhaps though, the biggest difference here in Sekiro compared to other Soulsborne games is the posture bar. This is the true health bar of the game. Let's just ignore the red traditional health bar. That doesn't exist. This is the real one. If you manage to smack the enemy enough times, or perfectly guard an enemy's attack, this posture bar will increase. If it's maxed out, the enemy will be vulnerable, and you'll be able to instantly kill them. If it's a boss enemy, bosses generally have multiple bars of health, you'll be able to take 1 bar of health down. This game is going to teach you how to get good real fast, real quick, because if you can't adapt, buddy, you're gonna die, and you're gonna die a lot. Sekiro is just one big skill check, more so than any of the other FromSoft experiences that I've gone through so far. It is insane how this game wants you to keep up with the mechanics that are at hand. You have to play by the game's rules. But oh my god, when you have this system down on pat, this is the greatest feeling sword fighting video game that has ever graced this floating rock. You know when you wake up partway through the night at like 4 AM, desperate for a drink of water, feeling as if you've been scouring for the past 4 days throughout the Sahara Desert without a drip of liquid? And that feeling when you're finally gulping back on the earth's sweat. Well, my brothers and sisters in gaming, that is the exact same feeling you get when you are perfectly playing in Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. My god, it feels good. So the Platinum Trophy is going to have you do basically everything. I call it
the Trial of Pain.
Just like other From Software games, there are multiple endings here in Sekiro. There are individual trophies for seeing each ending. This means that multiple playthroughs are required in order to get that platinum. In order to see each of these endings, you'll have to do different things throughout the game in order to receive the specific item that is needed in order to see a certain ending. However, you don't actually need to go through the game 4 times. It is possible to grab all of the garbage required for 3 of the endings on a single playthrough. Just before you make the decision as to what item you're going to use in order to get a certain ending, you can actually save scum. Chuck your Sekiro save onto a USB, boot the game back up, proceed with an ending, chuck the USB back in, overwrite your save file on your console, and go back into the game to get the other 2 endings. Yeah, here's the awkward thing though, during my first playthrough, it was already too late by the time I realized this, that I was at a point in the game where I couldn't go back to get the items required for the purification and return ending. So for me, this meant that I had to play through the game a total of 3 times. However, even if you get all of the items required for 3 of the endings in your first playthrough, you will absolutely need to do a second playthrough in order to get the 4th ending, which is the bad ending known as Shura. So for my first playthrough, I focused on just getting through the game, and this is easier said than done. Beginning the game off, we're going to die pretty much instantly to Genichiro. From Software pit you up against a boss that most players are absolutely not going to defeat the first time around. And this is really appropriate. This is From Software preparing the player for what's about to come. Many deaths. From here, we'll make our way through Ashina outskirts, fighting a few mini-bosses, getting some prayer beads, to come in contact with, oh my god, is that a fucking snake? We've now got true boss number 1, Man Horse Spare. After building a bit of confidence, successfully sneaking past that big-ass snake. Okay, yeah, maybe not the first time, but the second time I got it, I thought to myself, how scary can a big horse and a big man really be? Well, truthfully, he did actually give me a run for my money a few times, but I didn't find this first boss to be overly too difficult. After this, I remembered that going through the outskirts, this weird old lady gave me a bell.
I smell like dog biscuits.
This would allow me to get into Harada State, so I decided to progress through here to get some additional items, like more prayer beads, the axe prosthetic, XP in general from enemies to unlock some more skills and passives, to eventually face off against Lady Butterfly, who would provide me with a memory to enhance my attack power.
Oh fuck, I can't believe you've done this.
Journey back to Ashina to infiltrate the castle. What the fuck? Move! Oh my god! We give this mini-boss the stabby, and it's time to face our first true challenge, Genichiro, who stole our fucking arm. I feel like this is the first true skill hurdle of the game. While, yes, every single other boss that came before this one is definitely challenging, this is the part of the game where you go from one karate belt to another. It's also the game's way of telling you that it only gets worse from here on in. Progression from here requires us to get rock, flower, and toothpick. We'll have to travel to 3 separate regions in order to get these. First is the lotus flower, hidden away in the sunken valley, guarded by monkeys.
Impudent little monkeys! Gotcha! Let's go! Goodbye! Good at running, I see. How's that feel? Hold still! What the f***? Get moving!
So yeah, we just killed all of those monkeys, and this is Mother Monkey right here. Don't think Mother Monkey's too happy about that. Guardian Ape, definitely an infamous From Software boss. I mean, this is the point of the game where I tapped out 5 years ago. So after suffering multiple skull cave-ins and brain damage, I eventually defeated the boss. Wait, what? What? Wait, it's not dead! What? What? This is one of the biggest f*** yous from Software throughout this entire game, dude. I swear to it. Because the Guardian Ape, along with Demon of Hatred, are two bosses that don't seem like they should be here in Sekiro. It's like they got lost on the way to Bloodborne or Dark Souls. These fights involve kiting, like your life depends on it. Because it does. Because if you don't kite, then you're going to get flattened by an ape. Obviously, I'll talk a little bit about Demon of Hatred a little later on. So while you certainly do have opportunities to guard and deflect the ape's attacks, this really is a patience game of kiting in and out and working down the vitality, the actual health of the boss, and not trying to chip away at its posture bar. Next, we march forward to get rock. This journey's a little bit more strenuous than the last because we find ourselves in a canyon full of riflemen. Not required for the main progression, though we kind of have to because we need the prayer beads. We've got to defeat the gun leader here, who, yes, kicked my ass. I now have to cross this bridge without losing my head. Go! 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 Run! Run! No, 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 no! So From Software thought it would be funny to include a gotcha moment with the Guardian Ape fight, with how it resurrects after you completely decapitate it, because there's a centipede inside. Well, the thing is, you didn't kill that centipede that keeps the ape alive, so it managed to scurry its way down into this cave here, and yeah, you gotta fight it another time! But wait, it gets worse, because once you get one health bar down, oh my god, is that Daddy Ape? That's motherfucking Kerchak from Disney's Tarzan, bro! You gotta fight two apes at the exact same time. Now, I will say here that the second ape that you fight is considerably weaker than the first version. It's just that whole thing of having to be aware of two gorillas throwing around their meat sticks. After serving up a couple of roosters, fighting some ghosts, and slaying a drunken oaf, we arrive in Mibu Village, my second favorite area in the game. I always love From Software's takes on decrepit villages in the middle of a forest. I mean, there really isn't much going on here, it's just cozy for some really disturbing, strange reason. Disturbing is the key word here though, because all of the villages here are zombies. There's actually some interesting lore behind it, like the head priest would offer villagers sake, but the sake would make the villagers really thirsty, so the villagers would then resort to drinking the water, but there was some kind of parasite or worm thing in the water that would then turn the villagers into zombified freaks. I learned all of this from a dude wearing a basket in one of the huts. This is Basket Man. Before we get the Shelter Stone, we have to take on a thick ghost. I think I'm going to risk it all. The Corrupted Monk is another infamous Sekiro boss. You take a look at that health bar and think, wow, okay, 1 bar. Phew! Child's play. Then realize that her posture bar regenerates quicker than a salamander that's been given steroids. Aunt Fanny over here really took me for a spin, I'll tell you that much. I started off really hating this boss due to her posture meter being able to replenish so quickly, but by the end of it, I came to really enjoy this. I think this is actually one of my favorite fights in the entire game. You have to ensure to keep pressure up the entire time. Smack her when you can, and be sure to deflect literally every attack that's thrown at you. Don't give her a second to breathe, otherwise she'll whip out an Olympic swimming breathing technique and you'll be right back at square one. This fight is basically like ballroom dancing. And woohoo! We got the Shelter Stone! So in order to get the Mortal Toothpick, we have to make our way to Senpo Temple. Interrupting monks doing monk things. Sorry, fellas. Yo, look at this guy. What's this guy doing? He's just sitting on the floor? Ooh, dude! You just spewed on me? We've got to do one of the most annoying tasks in a From Software game that I've played through yet, and that is the folding screen monkeys. Good God. It's a kind of boss encounter, but not really. There's 4 monkeys that we have to chase down in order to deplete the health bar.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Slow down, I just want to kiss you. Come here, you little For the love of Pete, stop! How are you moving so quick? For a monkey wearing a kimono and I'm a trained shinobi, how does this add up? Just wait on a second! I'm gonna slap the banana skin out of you. Fucking monkey's got mad feet. Someone get Usain Bolt on the line. He's gotta see this. This is mad impressive. Ah, holy bro, those monkeys that I mass murdered are back to twist my nipples. So after running around for half an hour, we finally have the Mortal Blade. The thing about the Mortal Blade is anyone that wields it dies. But we're no regular Joe. See, we can die, and thanks to the dragon's heritage, we can come back, which, we've been doing a lot of that, and a lot of people have also been getting really sick as a consequence. I'm sorry, good folks of Ashina.
Why have you forsaken me?
From here, we must return to Ashina Castle to give Kuro the ingredients. However, we stumble across Dad, which we thought Dad was dead, but Dad, in fact, isn't dead. Now, Dad's not a very good guy. He wants us to betray Kuro, take the power of the dragon's heritage for himself, and take over the entire country. Here, we're faced with 2 options. We can obey the Iron Code, the shinobi code that Dad drilled into our thick skull, ultimately turning against Kuro, or we can stay loyal to Kuro and try figure out how to sever the dragon's heritage. Obeying the Iron Code will steer us in the direction of the bad ending, the surer ending. However, in this playthrough, we're gonna stay loyal to Kuro, which means we've got to fight Dad. Oh my god, this is one of the hardest fights in the game. So this guy's decked out with all of the tricks that we pretty much have. After all, this is the guy that taught us. So he'll whip out a bunch of shinobi attacks. On top of that, he's wielding a katana that is the size of the Eiffel Tower. The reach of this dude is insane, and he hits like a fucking truck. He's even got an ability where he throws a little sack of dust, which disables you from healing. However, you can actually use this move to your advantage, as it does act as a bit of an opening. The plus side here, though, is while it is frustrating for the first few attempts, you start to get into the rhythm, which I find with a lot of the fights here in Sekiro. It starts off frustrating, and in the end, you end up enjoying it. It's funny, because From Software games make you go from... I love this game. These guys are just master crafters when it comes to the art. I've got no words. Like, I'm in love, man. Like, it's the best in the business. Who? Fuck this, dude. I'm done. Fuck this game. Fuck this game. From Software, you can go suck a fat. After defeating Dad, we can now make the Fountainhead incense required to get to Fountainhead Palace. And the thing that transports us there is none other than Rope Man? Rope Man? Rope Man? What is this? This is a giant walking piece of rope. What is going on? We've then got to face off against the real Aunt Fanny.
I'm Rodney Big Bottom.
So this is the real version of Corrupted Monk, now with 3 health bars and a range of new moves. Now initially, this fight seems scarier than Corrupted Monk, but I honestly found this version to be easier. This version's posture gauge fills up way quicker. You've also got the experience of versing Corrupted Monk, and the surrounding trees allow you to monkey swing to them. There's also a little bit of cheese in this fight that allows you to death blow the boss on the second phase if you're up in one of the trees. Once we've taken her down, we're now in Fountainhead Palace, my absolute favorite location in Sekiro. This place is gorgeous. I do wonder if there's any Airbnb listing. This place is also filled with these things. I don't know what these are. It's a little bit of From Software goodness though, because that's not overly too prevalent here in Sekiro. There is some weird stuff in this game, but I think this is the least amount of weird compared to FromSoft's other Soulsborne games. Still though, what the fuck is this flute playing idiot? To reach the divine dragon that we need to kill for its tears, we've got to navigate past this big ass fish. Speaking about the fish, it is required to get the boss trophy in the game, defeating all of the major bosses. This is an optional thing, but you will need it for the trophy. To do that, we gotta talk to a man in a pot, buy some of his shit with fish scales, and eventually he'll give us some fish poison, asking us to kill the giant carp. If we make our way down to the feeding grounds, we'll find Uncle Bob, asking us to feed the great colored carp. This is really trusting because we're a complete stranger. We've never been here before. How does he know we're not going to give the fish poison? Because that's exactly what we're gonna do.
Oh, delicious. Oh, yummy. What the
After feeding the fish some cyanide, we can make our way to the ape watering hole to find the corpse of the large beast. I have found myself new house. Through doing this, we'll receive a lapis lazuli, which we'll need in order to get the upgrade all prosthetics trophy. Now it's time to face off against Shenron's cousin. You take one look at this bad boy and you think you're in for one hell of a time. I mean, this is a scary looking boss, a very visually striking boss fight, but you know that there's probably going to be some bullshit this thing's about to throw at you. I mean, it's a fucking cloud serpent holding a stick that he found somewhere in the forest. Turns out that this fight is an absolute joke. Granted, that's actually kind of considerate considering that what's to come next is literally hell on earth. So naturally, after Divine Dragon, you would make your way to Genichiro and Ishin, the final bosses of the game. However, when you're at this point in the game, a bunch of other boss fights become available. Namely, the big bad secret boss of Sekiro, Demon of Hatred. Now this boss fight is completely optional. It's also not considered as a mini boss, it is a major boss and will award you with a memory to enhance your attack power. Because it's a major boss, this means that it's part of the Defeat All Bosses trophy. And all I have to say is, fuck this thing. Okay, strong.
Love it.
Oh, what? Woohoo! Yes! Woohoo! Oh! Woohoo! Me. Ow! Ow! Bollocks. Absolute fucking bollocks. No, what? Huh? What? There's no way. Prime Minister's deviled eggs. Fuck's sake. This fucking thing is pixelating my dick. Demon of bullshit. How did he even get me? I'm tired. I'm Baba Ganoush! Curate duck sauce. I'm gonna shed cinder blocks. No way! So I found Demon of Hatred to be the second hardest boss fight of the game. Similar to Guardian Ape, this fight goes against the core mechanics of Sekiro. Most of the time you're going to be avoiding his attacks as best as possible and then swooping in to smack that dick. He covers insane range, he's got ranged based attacks, he hits incredibly hard, he's got the burn status effect, you can get a bit of an edge by using the Malcontent Whistle and Lotus Umbrella against him, but this really is just more of a pay attention to what the f this thing is doing, otherwise you're gonna get squashed. There's a bunch of mini bosses throughout Sekiro, and I made sure to defeat all of them as I made my way through the game. There's also some that become unlocked right at the end of the game before Ishin. Now these guys aren't required for the boss trophy, however they do drop prayer beads. And one of the trophies here is maxing out both our vitality and posture. This means that we'll have to get all of the prayer beads throughout the game, which means that we'll have to defeat all of the mini bosses that drop prayer beads, not all of them drop prayer beads, as well as finding the prayer beads. We've got the two apparition type mini bosses, Headless and the Szechuan Sauce Warrior. These guys don't drop prayer beads, but they do drop some pretty decent items, especially the Szechuan Sauce Warrior that can be found in Fountainhead Palace, dropping a lapis lazuli. Most of the mini bosses throughout the game though are fairly easy. It's really the ones at the beginning of the game when you're just getting used to how Sekiro actually works that are quite challenging, especially 7 Spares. I died to this dude so many times because I didn't know what a Makiri counter was. But now, it is time to finally wrap up Sekiro for the very first time. Over the years, I had heard horror stories about Ishin and how this is From Software's hardest final boss. Now, I had just freshly come out of Consort Radahn from the Elden Ring DLC, which still after defeating Ishin now 2 times, I can say that Radahn is still harder. This fight, man. Ah, fuck. For fuck's sake. Yup. Why? What? This waste of skin. Explain that to me. Unbelievable. Just madness.
Alright, you're going the right way for a smack.
What? I really hate it out here. Off to the retirement village. Quit dicking on me. No, God. Fuck fucking hell! Thick bullshit, rotten jelly bean. Yep, this final fight is no joke. Technically, this is a boss with 4 health bars because you've also got Genichiro at the beginning of the fight that you'll have to fight every single time if you die. Trust me, you'll get really good at this Genichiro fight to a point where you're no damaging it. But Ishin is hard. He is definitely a worthy final boss fight. From Software want you to put in everything you've learned throughout your Sekiro experience thus far into this fight, because you're going to need it. Now remember, I haven't completely experienced Demon Souls as well as all 3 of the Dark Souls, so I can't speak for them. But out of Bloodborne, Elden Ring, and Sekiro, this would be my boss ranking for top 5 hardest. So after inducing a blood clot, we can finally save Kuro. But before we do that, here we'll get the Severance ending trophy for just using the Divine Dragon Tears on Kuro, but my adventure is far from over. I still got 2 more playthroughs, man, and this also means that I gotta refight Ishin at some point as well. Oh god, save me. At the end of playthrough 1, we acquired a handful of trophies, like obtaining all of the prosthetics, traveling to all areas, acquiring all of the ninjutsu, Master of Arts, and not all, but most of the individual boss trophies. Now we begin playthrough 2 to get the Shura ending. Shura is the easiest ending to get, and is the quickest way to go through Sekiro. We'll make our way back through the game, all the way up to the point of meeting up with Al at the top of Ashina Castle. And instead of staying loyal to Kuro, we're going for the bad boy arc. That's right, we're gonna team up with Dad and obey the Iron Code. The end of the game takes place right here, but we've got 2 boss fights to get through first. The first one is Emma. Why would you do this From Software? Emma's our good old friend, old buddy, old Bob. She's the one that provides us with the healing gourd, and we work with her throughout the game to protect Kuro. She's incredibly loyal to Kuro, so because we're now a threat to his life, she's gonna do her best to try and make a kebab out of us. And I didn't expect it, but old Emma Gentle Blade, which Gentle Blade, that's not true, that's a fucking lie. Yeah, this girl's got some hands. After getting bullied by Emma a few times, we then have to take on another boss. This means that if we die on this next boss, we have to verse Emma all over again. And oh my god, look who it is. It's Grandpa himself. It's Ishin. I literally just walked away from this migraine and you want me to do it all over again? Good thing is, this Ishin's only got 2 bars of health. The other thing is, this is the 89-year-old version of Ishin, and not the resurrected youthful version. He uses some of the same moveset from the normal Ishin fight, but he doesn't use that entire kit. He does have some new moves here, but honestly speaking, the normal Ishin fight is a lot harder. That being said, Grandpa can still dance. We claim Ishin's life insurance, stab our dad in the back because we know that Dad would have done the same to us, and we move forward to commit the most tragic massacre of the Sengoku era. We're a good person. So that's 2 of the ending trophies done. Now, for this next playthrough, we'll ensure to get the 2 remaining ending trophies, which both of these endings require quite a few more steps than a normal playthrough. Start new playthrough, get to Ashina Castle, talk to Old Lady. Instead of going up Ashina Castle, we're gonna go to Senpou Temple to talk to a monk and get Holy Chapter infested. Oh yeah, and on my way up to Senpou Temple, the dude just gave up. He didn't want none of the heat no more. He just fully packed it in. He thought, you know what, this is the 3rd time. I know how this goes. I'm just gonna stand here and I'm gonna take it. Go back to the castle and kill Genichiro. Venture out to Mibu village first instead of Guardian Ape so that I don't have to fight that damn ape 2 times. Slap over Aunt Fanny for a 3rd time, get Shelter Stone. Go back to Senpou Temple, kill the folding screen monkeys for a 3rd time and get Mortal Toothpick. We'll talk to the Divine Child and give her the Holy Chapter infested. We'll receive rice. We'll eat rice. We'll then ask for more rice. We'll eat that rice and then ask for even more rice. And you guessed it, we're gonna eat that rice! The child is now feeling sick and wants fruit. We give her fruit. We then ask her for even more rice. And we'll get even more rice, but this time for Kuro. Kill Guardian Ape for the 3rd time. See you later, bitch. Nice knowing ya. Go back to Ashina Castle, you, Dad, I hate you. Give Kuro rice, and we get even more rice. Talk to Emma and Kuro a bunch, then eavesdrop on them. Talk to Emma again. Get special paper. Travel to Gravestone. Talk more nonsense with Emma. Go back to the Divine Child. We must find Old Crusted Man. We find the Old Crusted Man and get Holy Chapter Dragon's Return. We go back to the Divine Child, and she now wants 2 snake fruits, which are actually snake organs. We already collected one earlier going to Mibu Village, but to get the other one, we'll need to kill that f***ass snake. So we go back to Senpo, infest this man's brain with TikTok memes. He'll then activate this crank here, raising a kite, and from this tree we can now swing across the valley to get to the cave that will lead us to the snake. Kill snake. Jeez. I only stabbed you in the head, man. It's not that much of a big deal. Calm down. Give child snake organs. Eavesdrop on child.
So good and tasty?
Reset the room, talk to child, and we receive frozen tears. Make our way over to the dilapidated temple and eavesdrop on Emma and the sculptor.
What are you doing?
Receive new bell charm. We now have to go back to Harada State, but this version is different. It'll also provide us with 2 new mini-bosses that will give us some prayer beads, leaving only one left to be found. Travel to the end of Harada Estate, and oh my God, Dad, what are you doing here, Dad? No, Dad, not the bat! So this right here is a harder version of the Owl fight. This is Owl Father. Owl halfway through the game is already one of the harder fights in Sekiro, but this version of him is quite a bit harder. At this point, I questioned everything. I was truly a broken man. As I was cycling through the deaths of Owl Father, I was thinking to myself to just throw it in the bag. However, thinking about the Necker 30,
Never back down.
and the fact that I wouldn't be able to call up my mother to let her know that I have just platinumed Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, it gave me an extra edge of motivation to keep pushing forward. This is probably the 3rd toughest fight in Sekiro, but I would say that it ties very closely in with Demon of Hatred. Honestly though, all 3 of these fights just leave you raw, beaten, and purple. However, after finally taking Dad down for the 3rd time, this man just refuses to die. We've achieved the All Bosses trophy, along with the Aromatic Branch, the final item required along with the Frozen Tears in order to get both of the endings we need. So we're going to head over to Fountainhead Palace, kill the dragon, steal the tears. Don't mind if I do. And the only boss that stands in our way is Genichiro and Ishin. Again. Oh, we're so close. However, there is a couple of other things I have to do. I first have to upgrade all of the prosthetic tools. Throughout my multiple playthroughs, I've accumulated a bunch of materials, but I am missing 2 important ones. I need a bunch of mercury and I need some lapis lazuli. You can only get 6 lapis lazuli each playthrough you do. You need a total of 10 of these in order to upgrade all of the tools. Thank God, I actually had quite a few stocked up. In fact, I only needed to go out of my way to get one from the Szechuan Sauce Man in order to upgrade all of the prosthetics. Whew! Mercury though was a bit of a problem because this thing sucks to get. It barely ever drops, even if you do have the Demon Bell activated and you're on New Game, which I was. However, there is a method here by using the Divine Abduction tool. Pop a possession balloon and then run up the stairs here, use the tool on these fellas, and you might get a chance of grabbing some mercury. I managed to stockpile enough within like 15 minutes. It was really quick. And there we go, all tools upgraded. Another one I needed was to find all of the prayer beads to increase the vitality to max, which, oh, this sucked, because I wasn't exactly keeping track of which ones I found on the ground and which ones were dropping from mini-bosses. This took me like 2 hours to figure out whereabouts the last one was. And it was lying on the ground via this hidden path underneath the floor of where I fight the BDSM man with the claws, and anyway, yeah, we found it, maxed out vitality. Woohoo! Here's the kicker though, the worst trophy in the game. Yeah, even beyond all of the tough as nails bosses, the ones that make you want to pop a fucking blood vessel. Because at least with the bosses, you're actually doing something. There's a trophy for unlocking all of the skills in the game. And even by the end of playthrough 3, I still needed about 40 odd skill points in order to unlock the remaining skills. I used this method here in Ashina Castle, killing the same ninja over and over and over again for, I shit you not, 5 hours straight, just doing the same thing, killing the same guy again and again and again. This is it. This is the worst trophy in the entire game. There's a bunch of different grinding methods for Sekiro. People will claim that A, B, C, and D are the best method. No, shush. This is the best method. It's the most efficient. It is the quickest. And that's saying something because it still took me 5 hours to get the remaining points I needed. This drove me batshit crazy. I would rather fight Ishin with a plastic fork than do this nonsense. So after 5 hours, we finally get to the last kill required for the skill point. This poor man has died over and over and over again. I actually allowed him to smack me a few times, just out of pity. But there we go, all skills unlocked. You get the idea, right? Yeah, he keeps bullying me. This old geezer threw me around almost as much as the first time. But folks, we got there in the end. So before we go over to save Kuro, we quit the game and save scum. Bada bing, bada boom, there is purification. Load our save back onto the console. And there it is, return. And there's the platinum! We did it! It's done, it's over. It broke me many a time. But we never backed down, we never gave up. Fortnite meme, yes baby, Sekiro is complete. Which only means that I'm a bigger nerd than I was before.